Don't be afraid to die. If these people land on you, they'll torture some of our children.
Hey there, book people. Today I'm doing the Goodreads tag. I keep thinking of ways that I can do an update video on things I've been reading this semester, so the Goodreads tag kind of fit a lot of needs, and I love talking about Goodreads. Goodreads is my favorite, and I know a ton of you are also pretty into Goodreads, so that's what we're going to do today. I saw this video this morning on Ariel Bassett's channel, so I thought I would do my own. And I've got all my books ready, and here are the questions. The first question is, what is the last book that you marked as read on Goodreads? And for me, it was An Object of Beauty by Steve Martin. This is the first novel I've read in a really long time. I'm probably going to do a review of this for my Anatomy of an Art Book series because it is kind of an art book. It was really delightful to read, so if you like Steve Martin, you should check this out. The second question is, what are you reading currently? I checked my currently reading shelf on Goodreads and there's like 14 books there, so I obviously have a problem with marking books as I'm currently reading them on Goodreads and either forgetting to finish the book or forgetting to change the bookshelf. There's of course some John Cage books for my thesis. Leaves of Grass, because I'm reading Leaves of Grass right now for my American Romantic Literature class. I'm reading Tolstoy's Confessions. That is going to come in a later video on like meditative type books. For real, the books that I'm actually currently reading are, there's only 2 of them because I had started Hatching Twitter, which I thought would be like a really interesting new journalism brain candy type thing, and so far is like a really boring knockoff version of The Social Network story, and I can't do it. So we might return this to the library pretty soon. What I'm actually reading is, of course, a nonfiction book, but also a novel. And the nonfiction book is this. It's beautiful. It's All a Time in the World, A Book of Hours by Jessica Kerwin Jenkins. I had marked on Goodreads that I wanted to read her Encyclopedia of the Exquisite, and this is an exquisite book, even though it's not that book. I'm only like 30 pages into this, so a review will come later, but I'm reading this. And I'm also currently reading Michael Chabon's The Yiddish Policeman's Unit, and I'm loving it. I wasn't sure if I'd like it, and I'm also about 30 pages into this, and so far I'm loving it. Michael Chabon is hilarious. This is about a small Jewish community in Alaska, and it's a murder mystery, but it's cute. Like, it's not creepy and gross. That's always my fear with murder mysteries, is I have a very low gore tolerance. This was recommended to me by my boyfriend, and he did good. I'm liking this. So, look out for a review for this, hopefully, in the near future. Those are the 2 books that I'm currently reading. The next question, what are the last 2 books you've marked as to read? This was good for me to look at because recently I've been creeping through all my friends' profiles and adding a ton of books because I'm so excited it's almost summer where I can read all day, every day. The next 2 books I've added as to read are The Vogue Factor by Kirsty Clements. It's a book I actually read about this morning online. It is Australia's kind of version of The Devil Wears Prada. Kirsty Clements was Australian Vogue's editor-in-chief for 13 years, and she kind of got edged out in some type of like Vogue social coup, I guess, so I'd love to read that. The other one is called Jesus Feminist, An Invitation to Revisit the Bible's View of Women by Sarah Benfey. I copied this down so it wouldn't have to be on Goodreads, and my handwriting is atrocious, so I think that's it. I guess it's just what it sounds like. It's kind of a feminist study on the Bible. Sounds pretty awesome, so if I ever get my hands on that, I'd like to read that. Those are the last 2 books I've marked as to read. Of course, they're both nonfiction books because that's like my addiction. Next, what do you plan on reading next? So, after I finish Michael Chabon and the Book of Hours, I am finally going to read Book of Codes by Jonathan Safran Foer. I love this on like an art object level. I should remember the name of the original book. Jonathan Safran Foer took his favorite book and created essentially a giant found poem with it. I want to read it slowly. Like, it obviously reads fast, so there's 10 words on each page, but it's a really sublime type thing, and there is something cool about reading a book that when you open it looks like this. Wow. The next question is, do you use star ratings? I do use star ratings, but I'm terrible at actually writing reviews, and I'm not like really regular with like rating books because like the critic in me has not mastered the fine art of the 5-star system, I guess. So I use them, but not often enough. The next question, are you doing a 2014 reading challenge? I am, and it's the first year that I've stayed on track, which is crazy. I only set it at 30 books this year. Right now I've read 7 books, so I am 23%, and Goodreads says, good job, you're on track. Of those books, one of them was Object of Beauty. One of them was This Is How You Lose Her by Junot Diaz, and I love him. I read The Brief Wondrous Life of Oscar Yao 2 summers ago. Exquisite book, super weird, super powerful. This Is How You Lose Her did not disappoint. So I want to read Drown sometime really soon because it continues the same characters and they had it pretty rough, and This Is How You Lose Her. So also this semester have read Eve Ensler's In the Body of the World. Eve Ensler is the very, very famous feminist playwright, as most of you probably know. The Body of the World is her memoir, but it's also kind of a story of her journey through battling cancer and her time working for women's safety in the Congo. And it's very abstract, poetic, sad. It comes with like it's a big old trigger. Like it was hard to read, but it was really good. I probably wouldn't be able to read it again because it was pretty rough to get through at times, but she has a really beautiful way of looking at the world and making sense of the violence that she's experienced as a woman while also the violence she's dealing with in the Congo. And kind of the cancer provides a metaphor and a framework for her to make sense of the crimes to womanhood that she has lived and is writing about. So it's pretty intense. It's shortish. It only took me a couple days. So yeah, that was a good book. The other 4 have all been books for my thesis. They've been one on Robert Rauschenberg. There was one on John Cage and his ox herding Buddhist meditation watercolors. And there was one on the art of drawing, like the act and theory of drawing as a media. And a 4th one I don't remember. But that's what I've read so far. I look forward to adding to it. Hopefully I'll finish more soon. I also had started Patti Smith's autobiography, Just Kids, and it is like almost even better than Eve Ensler's book. So that was a library book and someone else wanted it, so I'm waiting for them to return it so I can get it back and finish. I will definitely be doing a video on Patti Smith. She's P-dope and one of my current favorite people. Next question. Do you have a wish list? No. I did not know that was a feature of Goodreads. What are you going to buy next? Well, that's a great question because I actually bought some books today on a whim that I will show you. I just got 2 at my local book thrifty place, and I'm really excited about both of them. They're both history books. The first one is Alexandra, the Last Tsarina by Carolee Erickson. I know nothing about this book or this author, so I don't know if it's like gonna be like, ooh, such good scholarship or just something fun to read about Alexandra. I, in the Book of Hours this morning, read about the Russian Empress Anne. When I saw this book at the store, I got the names confused. And I was like, oh, I read about her this morning. I'm going to take this home. And then I got home and checked, and it was actually someone else. But this still looks really good. Let me read you a little bit about this goofy empress. The enigmatic Tsarina Alexandra, hauntingly beautiful, melancholy, increasingly obsessed with the occult, has eluded her previous biographers. Acclaimed historian Carolee Erickson has captured her for the first time in this masterfully written, engrossing biography, which draws the reader into her isolated, increasingly troubled interior world. Ooh, sounds exciting. So I'm pumped about this. The other one is Charlie Wilson's War. Obviously, it's the reissue made for the movie. And this is like a political historical story that I only learned about a few years ago, like maybe at the end of high school, and it was very interesting to me. My constant desire to understand the news more and do more self-teaching about history and politics, this jumped out because it's a historical topic that's already of interest to me, and I still don't know a lot about it. So Charlie Wilson's War, I'm really excited to read this summer. So that's what I'm going to buy next. I don't know what I would buy next, but I got those today, so I'll check those underneath that question. Do you have favorite quotes on Goodreads? Again, a feature I didn't realize existed until I checked, and apparently I've liked one Kafka quote on loving books that wound you because it means you're like getting into them emotionally. I don't know when I liked that quote or exactly why, but maybe I'll check out quotes on Goodreads. Next question, who are your favorite authors? I'm assuming this means favorite authors on Goodreads. I have favorite authors, but like I don't know how I would start to list them. And so I checked if I had favorite authors on Goodreads, and I do. One that I marked forever ago, and one that I marked over Christmas break. So they're not the most representative of what I typically read, but they are Madeline L'Engle and Julian Barnes. I've always loved Madeline L'Engle for the Wrinkle in Time series. Her sense of like fantasy is like the only fantasy I've ever really gotten into, as well as her book Walking on Water, Reflections on Faith and Art, which is so cool. It's very abstract about like, you know, the need to create art and that sort of thing. And then Julian Barnes, I read The Sense of an Ending over Christmas break. I was introduced to him in my contemporary British Lit class last semester, and I definitely want to read more of what he has written. So on Goodreads, those are my two favorite authors. Lastly, have you joined any groups? No. Groups exist. Learn that today. Apparently I don't use Goodreads to its full potential. I tend to use Goodreads just to keep track of books that I want to read and find, books that I take from my grandpa, and to see what my friends are reading to get ideas, and because I like to know what my friends are reading. And of course, recently I've used it to follow some favorite booktubers, so yeah. Find me on Goodreads. We can look at each other's bookshelves. It'll be real nice. What's on your Goodreads? What are you reading? What are you gonna buy? Do you know about the quotes feature? Let me know. All right. Thanks for sticking around this long, and keep reading. I'll see you on the flippity flip.